Hey everybody, welcome to our very first episode of
Booning with Friends!
My name is Cam, this is Tyler. We do have two very special guests with us. We have here is Peter, Ascent Auckland winner and recently charity event organizer. Hey Peter, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
We are also here with Sebastian, World's 2025 player and top 8 at Ascent Akihabara. Hey Sebi, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, Cam?
I'm doing all right. We are here to do some booning with our friends.
Without further ado, we do have two wonderful guests here for our very first episode of Booning with Friends. I want to talk a little bit about your guys' history in card games, right? People know you guys in Grand Archive. You've won an Ascent, you've topped an Ascent. You guys play for a very well-known team, TM32, that does a lot of organization stuff for events, runs events, production, our jobs, and such. But I don't think they know your history, right? I do want to start with Sebastian, though. Sebastian, what got you into card games? Like, when did you start? What was your first game? All those kind of things.
So I suck at card games. So I'm just here to like chill, you know? I first started
He's right
playing.
about that. He does suck at card games.
He's here to boon with his
I
friends.
like absolutely suck. That's why I like judge so much too. Because like, well, if you suck at card game, you either judge or you cast or you do production.
Those who can't do
I don't
judge.
care.
Peter's the only one that's won an event, man.
I want to
I think I suck
guess. I don't
too.
know.
Oh, okay.
You won a store champs or something one time?
I don't know, man.
You won an online regional, I think, or two.
Nah.
No accolades that matter except for Peter's, I guess. Is
Yeah,
what you're getting
exactly.
at.
Yeah, I mean, he has a physical trophy.
Right.
I do have a
I've
trophy.
seen it. It's
Yeah,
over
the
there.
trophy's
Literally
over there,
outside.
It's a physical trophy. You can hold it, and you can be, you can hit somebody with it.
Yeah. And the Ascent winner trophy is taller than a nationals champion trophy.
So right.
That's a Duck Hats shout out right there, if I've ever heard one.
No,
have a trophy.
No.
we didn't get a
Duck Cats
trophy
didn't get a
that
trophy
time,
for
true.
first nats. This is a call out for Henke.
Well, I got this
There
a
you
call
go.
for Joe Facha.
Sure.
Oh,
National
him too,
winner.
actually. He does have a trophy.
I own half his trophy. What are you talking about?
True?
Yeah,
That's true.
I paid for his nat strip.
Mm.
Yeah, tell us about your introduction to card games and stuff, how you got to where you are now.
I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh in high school, and
Like 2 years ago?
dude, I think it's like almost
playing
8.
Yu-Gi-Oh
I think
now?
it's almost 8 years.
That'd be
now.
showing his age. It hasn't been a decade since
It
he's been out
hasn't
of
been a
high
decade.
school.
I think it's almost been a decade.
Mm.
Honestly, what year is it? 2026. I think,
Yes,
it's, al-
yeah, it's just about a
I think
decade.
it's almost a decade. It's
Yeah.
like just maybe like 9 years.
6-7 years. Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh, you're saying?
So I played Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh was really fun. Especially back then, it was fun. Back then. it was
Let him
really
speak.
fun.
Let him speak about
Yeah, don't judge me. Back then, it was really fun, and honestly, it's just like one of the many things I did. I played like a lot of Minecraft, but playing the actual physical card games is always very fun to me. And I started judging, and the main reason I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I kept playing Yu-Gi-Oh, was because of judging. So I had one experience when I was in Las Vegas. I was under 21, so I couldn't gamble or be on the casino floor. So my parents took me there, and I decided I'm going to play a locals. I had an encounter with a judge there that made such a bad ruling. I got so mad. I was like, I bet I can judge better than you. So I started judging, and I proved myself I was better than that judge.
So in terms of, you got into judging, you wanted to prove yourself as a judge. What level did you kind of reach in that chain of events there?
I got as far. Southern California is a high competition area, not only for Yu-Gi-Oh or any Grand Archive, but like any card game. Even like you go One Piece, you go any of the Bandai games, you go Pokemon. Southern California is really high competition, so you end up having the regional levels. They're really hard to do too. The judges in Yu-Gi-Oh back then called it trial by fire, especially if that was one of your first ones. And I like to think they're very accurate. But because of that, the judges are very experienced, so you learn very quickly, especially working underneath those guys. They're all so nice. I still talk to a ton of them. Like Bailey was one of the first people I met when I was judging. He's still really good. I still think that if TM were to was the entire judge team, actually we did do that. I think we did pretty good.
We did okay.
We did pretty good, but
Like the TM32 event?
yeah, the charity event.
Well, our charity event was all the
Yeah.
judges were team.
Yeah. We did pretty
Except
good.
for Jason.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, Jason's pretty good
Honorary
too.
team. Yeah.
Uh,
Real master.
Well, because of that, I gained a lot of experience very fast. And I started judging YCSs pretty fast. And I also went as far as judging NAWCQ, which is their equivalent of nationals. So I went on stream on that. And there is videos of me somewhere where I'm sitting at a judge table and I'm just looking at the players.
There's a famous picture of him going. It's actually on your trading card selling account on Discord. That's the profile picture, right?
Yeah, dude. This is what, I think it was Vegas. They had a photographer that would take candid photos. I have like a folder of them that I can use, that I have just like used, and I want to swap it out for profile pictures if I ever feel like it. They're all so nice photos. She did such a good job. It's actually insane.
It's actually something really cool. Just a little aside from that, but there is that's something that used to happen at, I believe, Pokemon events for a long time. They used to have a photographer go around and take really nice, candid photos of players, especially anyone in day 2, and they would just post them for you to use. I think that'd be really cool if we ever got the opportunity to get something like that. It would be really nice because, you know, a lot of people have, on Omnidex, we have the profile pictures of the cards. Imagine you get to use those like really nice professional level photos. That'd be pretty cool. But anyways, sorry, continue. I just thought that was a cool thing to mention.
Anyways, I eventually got as far as there. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Started to get to that point where it wasn't really as fun to play. I played right before a format called Tier Elements format. It was a Tier 0 format, and if you weren't playing that one deck, then you basically, there's no point of you playing. Personally, I thought that format was very fun, but after that format ended, it got very boring for me very fast. And I was at locals at Core TCG, and I was talking with Vegan, and he eventually introduced me to Grand Archive. And I felt like it was very fresh. It's a very fresh breath of air, especially to what I've been playing in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it like scratched that part of my brain where I was like, this is fun, and I want to try to get better. And eventually I started championing the game. I was like, everyone I met, I was like, you should play this game. You should play this game. I think Peter was one of the people that were like, you should play this game.
Yeah.
And you've been playing since like the very beginning, right? You went to Houston, right?
No, I didn't go to Houston. I went to, was it Ontario?
You went to Ontario, the second
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
I started playing like right after DOA came out.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah.
It's, history books is what, 2020?
It's like 3 years.
April, I believe, is when DOA
April,
came
yeah.
3
out.
years of GA?
Mhm.
I only have one spirit? Damn, I suck.
We're almost there. We're almost there. Yeah. So we got the history, kind of where you're at now with GA. Before we continue further on with your story, I actually do want to swap over to Peter. Kind of interested in where you come from. I know that you have played a ton of Guard games for very, very long periods of time. Talk to us about how you got into it.
Yeah, so I started with Magic the Gathering. So actually, I was super young. This is actually gonna sound kind of crazy. I got my first taste of Magic cards when I was like 7 or 8. We went to my friend's house and they had a bunch of cards from like 1993, and we were kind of messing around with it, trying to figure out how to play the game. And that kind of got me into card games. And the only local shop that was within walking distance of where I lived when I was a kid played Yu-Gi-Oh! So I tried to play Yu-Gi-Oh! But cards were expensive, couldn't afford cards. And I remember going to one of my locals, and one of the free I went like 04, it doesn't matter. They give you like a free booster pack. And this was when Invasion of Chaos first came out, and I opened a Chaos Emperor Dragon. And the guy who worked at the shop really wanted, he said, hey, I'll help you build like a budget deck, a full deck for that one card. So I built a burn deck. So I built like Stealth Bird, burn, with like Book of Moon and stuff. And I used that to start winning like small local events, and I was able to get enough store credit to build the Chaos deck, which was the tier 0 deck at the time. Chaos Emperor Dragon, Yatagarasu, to lock them out. Great deck, so much fun. But after Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of died off to me and I moved around and there weren't any Yu-Gi-Oh! Places to play at, I started getting back into Magic, and I played Magic for an insanely long period of time. I was pretty involved in the SoCal scene. There's a place called Frankincense that people buy and sell collectibles. I used to help run a booth there.
Oh, really?
So I have a lot of friends who open card shops. A lot of the card shops in Southern California, the owners are my friends. The booth owners at Frankincense are my friends. So I love the Magic because we got an early sponsor, and he was able to help accommodate a lot of our travel. So we traveled to events, and it was my first taste of traveling throughout the country, traveling internationally. And that was probably the best thing, was you have a reason to travel aside from traveling itself. And you always have friends and familiar faces wherever you went. So I kind of fell in love with the concept of like getting to travel internationally and you see the world. I think that was one of the taglines that Magic used to have, which like play in the Pro Tour, see the world.
Play the game.
See the world.
And it really was like that. So I played Magic on and off for like a bajillion years. Stopped playing card games to focus on life for a while. And I was starting to look for a card game to get back into, and I was considering going to Magic. I was calling my old friends. So one of my wife's friends, Beltier, worked for Weeps at the shore. She still works there now. But she let us know, hey, there's a local shop near where you guys live, and I'm hosting a Learn to Play. Would you like to come out? So I was like, this game doesn't sound that great. It's no Magic the Gathering. I was like, I'm probably not gonna have that fun. But you know what? You said that you guys are longtime friends. I will come out, show my face, give it a shot. So Sebastian was there. It was the first time meeting Sebastian, so he taught me how to play the game. And
Was it love at first sight with Grand Archive?
no, not really. So this was ALC. So I got the Arisana starter deck.
Oh, that's rough.
GG, bro.
Not that great. And at the time, so my wife was there also, and she was playing the Tanaris. And the Tanaris starter deck, blows.
Crazy.
Yeah. So blows the water out of the Arisana deck. So she beat me in our starter deck tournament game, which is what the undefeated wife, the wind spirit that I carry around is.
Oh, that's where
Yeah.
it's from.
She has played one game of GA against me, which was that Learn to Play. She won, and she said, I'm never playing this game ever again. I got to keep that 1-0 forever. And to this day, it's still true. So, so I played the game. I learned it. I started going to locals, and I thought this game was great. I loved the idea of like the regional and like store time invites. Having an invite card, it kind of reminds me of like the old school, like the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, like Duelist Kingdom, you have the little cards, and like Battle City and stuff. I was like, this is great. And it was just fun. And I met a lot of the SoCal community. They're all very nice people. And we got along pretty well. And then we started traveling together for events. And it got to a point where, I was playing decks that I wanted to play because I thought they were fun, but I was never doing well with them. So I kind of sat down and I had to think about, hey, do I want to try to actually do well in the game, or do I just want to play for fun? And so I was like, you know what? Why not do both? So we'll find a deck that is good. It might not be the deck I want to play, but just a good enough deck that's fun enough, and then see how that goes. And that was around the beginning of 2025. And then I took that mindset into Seattle. I somehow got to the finals of Seattle, and I was like, this is too fast of a jump. But I was able to leverage that into Seattle, into CNATs, and then Worlds was whatever. Worlds was more like I want to play what I want to play. And then eventually to the one season where I actually traveled a ton for Ascents, which was the DTR season. And then culminating in my first Ascent win at Auckland.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think that finish that you had in Seattle that sort of catapulted your competitive career, do you think that you would have engaged the game in the same way if that hadn't happened, or was that sort of the catalyst that gave you that competitive drive?
I think at this point I was starting to day 2 events, so I was starting to get close to day 2 events, and unfortunately the last 3 Ascents before Seattle that I almost day 2'd, in my winning into day 2, I ended up drawing my opponent because time. I wasn't very good at time management back then. And you always have to ask once. I would ask, would you like to concede? And say no. And I conceded them because someone should at least make day 2. So we used to joke that I built up karma, and which is why I did well in Seattle. But no, I think definitely topping in Seattle kind of made it easier to justify traveling. I don't think I would have traveled internationally if it weren't for that Seattle top. And then leveraging the top, a little more confidence in myself, confidence in my playability, and then going to Taipei, qualifying for Worlds. I think qualifying for Worlds was a very huge motivator, and then playing at Worlds. And I thought that I would stop playing GA after Worlds. I thought making to Worlds was good enough, and that mindset is kind of why I performed the way I did at Worlds. I switched literally the last minute to a different deck, untested. I just knew it had one good matchup, and then I whiffed it crazy. But I think losing at Worlds made me want to play the game more, because I looked at my performance and I was like, I could do better. I know I could do better, so I want another year. So I think I was telling people, I was like, hey, I'm probably gonna quit after Worlds, and I talked to Ken and I was like, you know what? Like, I want another year. I am gonna play for another year. And that's when he sent me an invite to TM, and I was like, all right, sounds good. I'll play for the year, see where it goes. And so far, it's going pretty well. But definitely, I am super more motivated for Worlds this year compared to last year. I think last year, getting to Worlds was the goal because I couldn't dream bigger. I think that's the big thing that people need to realize is like you have to set your goals very far. You have to set something that is super high. It may seem like unattainable, but if you do start going there, you might stumble because you're like, oh crap, like I'm already here. So for Worlds last year, it was kind of like that. You know, we got to Worlds, qualified for Worlds, got my Worlds jacket, and I was like, this is all I wanted. So I kind of lost focus at the end. Versus this year, where you know I think I'm good enough to win. So I might as well focus for that, try hard, test, and just keep that mindset.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of going to Worlds, qualifying for Worlds in 2025, Sebastian, you also qualified through the Gauntlet stage and such. What were your goals in that kind of time frame? You know, Peter's talked here about how he set the goal was to get to Worlds, and he didn't realize that he needed the goal to be further than that. Can you talk a little bit about what your goals were going into a similar light? Because you guys were working together, collaborating on a lot of decks, and as a team at the time, almost as a team at the time. So just talk to me a little bit about that.
To be honest,
that was daunting. That was very
Good
daunting.
start, yeah.
my goals have never gone as far as this guy. Like the bar was just break even. Honestly, for every event that I go to, the bar is just break even, make my travel back. Anything else is extra, and I'm like, poggers, I can do this.
Poggers. You know what? I respect that.
Like EU Nats, I think the biggest decision making for that was just I have family there, and I just wanted to go see them. So I booked the flight. EU Nats is the excuse to go here. I hung out with my cousin like 2 nights in a row, and we just had dinner or something. And after, I think the math was probably day 2, which is enough to break even for my flight and hotel. It's like, nice. If I make Gauntlet, it's worth it. I also justify going to Gauntlet by, okay, Worlds is like an hour away? Like an hour away. And like, I don't have to pay for travel. So even if I make Gauntlet, it's good enough.
Sure.
Right? So I was like, okay, cool. The minimum's Gauntlet then, just like for fun so I can play Worlds. And then when I got there, I was like, oh, nice.
Nice.
I play Grand Archive just the magic thing. See the world.
Sure.
Very much.
That's a good one.
Make it a point to, because it feels very bad, especially if you go travel somewhere, you can not do that good in an event just because you get unlucky too. So it feels very bad if you go there, you scrub out. It might be because of your fault. It might not be because of your fault. But if you just scrub out and you don't do anything else, feels bad. I think every single event that I've gone to and I've scrubbed out, I've at least gone like, oh, like for London, the biggest example recently, I scrubbed the hell out. I like day 2 did nothing, scrubbed out tournament. I was like, holy crap, I was not there. But I saw Big Ben, and I went to London Eye, and those were dope as hell.
Yeah.
Like actually, those were dope as hell.
Well, I think one of the beautiful things about Grand Archive specifically is Grand Archive does host a ton of events, right? It's almost every month there's an ascent, or at least every like maybe 45 to 50 days. And they're all over different places, right? We have had repeats, Auckland, we've had repeats in Melbourne and such like that. We've had areas in SoCal between Ontario and Vegas and Anaheim. But there are a lot of different places we can go throughout the world, right? We traveled together to see Nats. That was my first time in Taiwan. It was a fantastic trip. We had so much fun, except for the fact that Jet tried to poison us. That's a story for a different time, though, guys. That is a story for a different time. A very funny one at that. But, we've been to great places. We've seen so many things. You and I have been to tons of different events, working as casters and then now as production. We've gotten to experience different parts of the world. Akihabara, that was my first time to Japan. So, like you said, it's a great opportunity to go to these events and be able to do other things. Mm-hmm. And I think with that as well, I feel like Grand Archive is so community-based that you tend to go to events with people. I feel like it's really rare to go to an event completely by yourself. You don't know anyone. And even if you don't know anyone, you end up making friends at these events, right? Grand Archive has such a strong community that it makes going to these events worthwhile, on top of how fantastic the prizing is.
Of course. Yeah, it's uncommon that a game, like Sebi said, if I make day 2, I can break even on this trip is something that you don't get everywhere. But Yeah, I don't think that a lot of people would be playing Grand Archive if it wasn't for the community. You guys obviously come from different backgrounds from TCGs, and maybe you can speak a little bit to that sort of community aspect. I know, Sebi, especially judging for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is there like a difference in the way that the game treats you, or a difference in the community that stopped you from taking that sort of same approach in GA?
I think there's a very big difference between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Grand Archive community. I think the GA community is very unique, at least right now, in that the game's still relatively small compared to everything else. And I still find it surprising, despite how much the game has grown, that there's still a ton of people that are very nice to talk to. Like, I rarely have a bad experience where I'm sitting across from somebody and it's like, oh, this guy sucks. That almost never happens. Like this guy's chill. He's really nice to talk to, and I can enjoy talking with them a lot. And in Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially, and I don't really tend to see in other card games too, it's very rare that you're able to just mesh with at least the guy sitting across from you very well. And especially with the online community too, I think it's benefited because the game's still relatively small, but everybody seems very welcoming and very open to just talking about the game in general.
Yeah, the game is really cool in that regard. We have lots of things like online leagues are a really good example. I see you competing in the online regionals almost every time, pretty much topping every online regional. People are chill, right? A lot of things happen. Like, we were pretty strict about hand cams. Most of the time, you remind your opponent, they will totally respect that. They're not going to get upset that you're calling them out or anything, right? That's something that I think a lot of people worry about in different games is you call a judge and it's like they get offended. Whereas in Grand Archive, it's like you call a judge and both players are like, yeah, we should call a judge. We should make sure that everything's going right, because people want to see the game grow in that regard. So moving back to the kind of like forward topics here, through your guys' stories, I want to go back to Sebastian. So you've talked about how when it came to like the goals in 2025, you made Worlds, didn't really have any strong aspirations to go like, I really want to make finals of 2025 Worlds or anything. Knowing where you got to then and knowing you're still playing the game now, do you have any goals set for 2026?
I think the biggest one was probably just get a spirit, which I did in Aki. That was like one I really wanted to work for, just for myself, just prove to myself like, oh, I can do this, and if I put enough effort, I can probably get a little further. Definitely make Worlds again is up there, but maybe try to win an Ascent if I can. But I don't know. Sometimes I look at the spirit on the shelf and I'm like, nice.
Dude, but SoCal could go to 2.
SoCal could go to 2. I'll do it myself.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That is true. That is very true. So I mean, that is a cool one. Going for an Ascent win is definitely like a big aspiration there. So best of luck to you in that regard. I want to talk to Peter about something very specific that you have done that no one else has done yet in Grand Archive. You've gone from I started playing the game, game's cool, go to Worlds, scrub out. Win an Ascent. So the comeback is huge there, right? Yeah. Scrub out of Worlds into win an Ascent is very big. But then you take it a step further. You said, I now have the credibility and recognition in this space. I want to do something great for the world. Not for myself, not for Grand Archive. I would like to run a charity event. Talk to me, Peter, about how that came about. Because that's like something that's very unique.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we should talk about.
So this is kind of like a long time like work in progress. So when I played Magic, I saw all these community ran events and tournaments, and I always thought, I wish that I was either popular enough or successful enough. I was like, I want to run my own tournament. And unfortunately, it never worked out in Magic. But then I started playing GA. It's been like 2 years. I feel like I built pretty good communities with people. I built very good relationships, good relationship with like developers at Weebs, good relationship with like Ken and the production crew. And a lot of the other players, I'm pretty somewhat recognizable between most of the player base. So I kind of wanted to run my own events. And the original idea was, I'm winning these events, I'm getting day 2s, I have all these promos. I don't really care about the promos. So I thought it would be fun to have like a last chance qualifier for NA Nats. Because I was thinking about it, I was like, 3 Ascent promos gets you 12 points, that gets you into Nationals. Doesn't matter if you've played the game before, if you spike a tournament, you get to go to Nats. So that was like the original concept was, okay, first place gets 3 Ascent promos, they get 12 points. Well, how am I going to do the rest of the prizing? So I started, I sold some of the promos. I sold a bunch of like my Pendragons. I think I went to 4 Ascents that season, won 4, sold 3 of them, bought a bunch of other promos, and tried to figure out the prize point. And I thought that I should try to leverage like some of the connection and relationships I built. And so I talked to SoCal. They kind of helped me get some promos. Some were donated. Some sold to me for like under market value, and some I've won myself. And I was kind of looking at the event. I was like, what is the purpose of this event? And if I just run a normal tournament, like, am I trying to like make a profit? Am I trying to do like, you know, that didn't really like mesh well with my idea, because I wasn't trying to do this for like personal gain. I thought it would just be fun to have an event, try to get Southern California like a second regionals, because Taiwan gets like 1 million. So, so I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I don't want to make money off the events. It wouldn't feel right. So the only option is like, you know, let's donate to something. And my wife and I, we've talked a lot of times about donating to a charity. So specifically, we chose the Sarcoma Foundation of America because my mother-in-law passed away due to sarcoma before she met me, but around like 8 or 9 years ago. So my wife's drive to kind of donate money to the Sarcoma Foundation of America and just donate money to charities in general was kind of driven from that event. And as we get, you know, like I guess successful and stable in life, it's like we have avenues to kind of help out with charities. So I thought this would be a good event to kind of do both. You know, I get to run my own events, I get to run it as last chance qualifier, but it's for a purpose. It's not just for me, it's not just for the community, it's donate to a fundraiser, like a foundation. So I talked with Sarcoma Foundation, sent them emails, and then they were okay. They're like, hey, here's a media package, here's, you know, our logos, use it for however, just don't do anything that's super weird. they're very hands-off, which is kind of nice. And I was like, okay, you know, they're okay with it. I have my set of pricing that I could give out. So I contacted Weebs and I said, it's a JTCG, and I said, I want to run this event. I want to run it as a charity event. These are my plans. Like, can you help me out with anything? So they've done their internal discussions and they went above and beyond what I asked for. I think they gave me so much stuff to help with like the prize support, for the venue, for like just extra pricing, stuff that I could give out to like my volunteers. And so, you know, Weebs supplied all that. I talked to, you know, SoCal GA, I talked to everyone I met, and they're like, hey, you know, we'll come volunteer for free. I think like Tyler agreed to fly down and help cast the event. 1 year in the making. Yeah, this was a year ago.
The week that Jet poisoned me, he was like, hey, in a year, I'm going to run an event. Will you cast me? Like, Peter, for you, of course I'll do that.
Yeah. So, you know, everyone kind of came through, you know, it's like it takes a village, right? So everyone came through and they were, I can't pay them, but, you know, they were happy to help for free. And, you know, we had some extra stuff from Louis, so to give some sort of support for people. And when I talked to Ken, you know, Ken offered, he's like, hey, you know, since it's like an official event and Weebs kind of wants a charity event, they want to have a stream, they want these conditions. So he's like, TM offered their services to help manage some of the events and loan me some of the supplies that I need, like the tablecloths, table numbers, like all the small stuff that people don't really consider running events. And, you know, they were a great resource for me to ask them questions because it's my first time running a GA event. Like, I wasn't sure if I was missing anything. So it was a very great experience overall, and the fact that I got to work with so many people, and just the fact that so many people were willing to help kind of meant a lot to me. I think I was very moved by just everyone's offers. Many people in the community like donated prize support, they donated playmats, they donated deck boxes. And then once I started putting like the donation goals and I put like donation options, and the community just, you know, coming in droves and donate money to the fundraiser. And so overall, it was like a great experience, kind of restored some faith I had in humanity.
And we had good judges.
Yeah, we had good judges. The event went very well. I do wish there was more people, but there were some limitations to the venue and the day, and availability in Southern California is horrible right now. So hopefully we do another one, it will be better, bigger.
Alter edition.
Alter edition, yeah.
Mercurial Heart Alter Edition Cup.
Yeah,
a big one.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said that this has been such like a sort of not exactly lifelong, but a long-term goal to run an event like this. Is it, I wanted to run this event, now it's, you know, checked off my bucket list, or is there gonna be, you know, future events that you want to try to plan?
I think that I've learned a lot from this event, so I would be willing to run more. I think it was very good. I think it was the causes were good. And I feel like as we expand it, I think this is something we might do often. So not like monthly, but like, or seasonally, but at least like once a year. I think it is a good way for not just like GA players, but for people outside the game. to like see and be like, hey, you know, they're doing like a charity event every single year. Like that means that, you know, it's probably, there's some good people, it's some good game. It's successful enough they could donate money to charity and the community comes out. And I think it was entertaining. And I had ideas to for the charity event to make it more fun, which I unfortunately could not do for this event. So I think it would be very fun to try it in other events. So I think I had an idea of do a top cut and do something different for top cut. And I think the idea I threw on was yeah. So you do your Swiss placements. So you get 1st to 8 is the top cut. Top cut drafts precons in order of Swiss placement.
Cool, yeah.
So you got to know your precons, you got to know your placement, know what's good. And then you can see what people ahead of you have picked, so you can kind of plan around them. So I think like
it's
that
like
would
a very Magic thing to do.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
There's like a draft and then you play constructed and then you play like draft or something.
Oh yeah, depending on the format. So usually that's for like limited, yeah. But I just want to do something fun.
Yeah.
And I thought that would have been very interesting. But for this one, we just kept it very basic, you know, standard, just Swiss only. And no, yeah, it was a great event. But yeah, I would probably do it again. Yeah. Bigger, better, faster.
Stronger.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, it's fantastic to hear from you about the whole event, right? It is the first charity event I believe that we've run at all for Grand Archive with regards to actually making it official, more than just like, hey, you know, we're running a small thing, we're going to donate some small proceeds or whatever. So that's great. It opens the door for everyone else to kind of try and do something similar if they wish to, whether it's official or non-official. I think that once the door is open, a lot of people will try. So that's, you know, fantastic. I want to say a big shout out to all the people who helped, like you said. You guys judging is actually like way more important than I think a lot of people are willing to give it credit to. So for you, Sean, Duck Hats,
Head judge, Lift Drizzle.
Lift Drizzle.
Lift Drizzle. Duck Hats. Yeah. Sebastian is a big one. I do have one last question for you, Sebastian, before we kind of wrap up the podcast here. The Booning with Friends cast.
The Booning with Friends.
Do you think that if you ever were to retire in Grand Archive, you would focus on judging the game? Or do you think that that's something? I'm curious because I know a lot of people move from competitive player to either judge or like kind of like a teaching and learning role. I feel like because you have that experience in Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm curious whether or not that's something that you would be interested in this game. Because the judging is very new, it's a very young game, so we do need a lot of experience in that regard.
It's honestly like 50-50. I think there's a little stereotype going around, just in all games in general, that if you're judging, that you're actually bad at the game. But I think that
I feel like Sean proved that wrong.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's why he started like doing judging events like that's at Boston.
I think it's very important that you understand what's going on in the game to judge a game correctly. Because in my experience, there's a lot more nuance than just, okay, cool, this is how this interaction works. I was taught as a judge that judging is a lot more than just rulings. It's moreover a customer service job. You're trying to give the players a really good experience and making sure that they're having fun, which is the whole reason they're there. Like they could be at a tournament, a high level tournament, to try to win and make lots of money. But the reason that got them there in the first place was that they were having fun. And I think that as long as you're having fun and having a good experience, everything else comes secondary and should probably fall into line and happen as you go anyways. Because of that, I think it's very important that you teach that. So that's why there's a pretty solid chance that I might actually judge, but I love playing this game too. It's very fun, and it's very much scratches that part of my brain like, dang, this game is really fun. I like just playing all these random decks.
Yeah.
So, who knows? I know Sean tried it once. He had an okay time. I think there's definitely improvement, especially because it's a newer game. But I think as it goes on too, it should turn out better.
Yeah, I agree. I guess one last question for both of you each before we wrap it up, because I want that one, like, here's that one great thought I had. Sebastian, one tip for judges in Grand Archive. One quick tip, one sentence.
It's an open book test, man. You can pull out your phone. The players probably feel better about you pulling out your phone and checking the ruling. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then Peter, for you, one tip as an event organizer for anyone who might be looking into doing that.
However much time you think you need, double it.
Only double it?
Triple it. I say double because I had, TM helping me out, but if you're by yourself, 10x, 20x, pray
was
to
a
whatever
lot.
deities will listen to help you.
Yeah, your deities are named Kyle and Domingo.
Yeah.
Ours too.
Yeah, ours too. Yeah. So I guess, thank you guys for joining us here for the very first episode of Booning with Friends.
Boon.
Woo! Wait.
Before we go, is there any last final thoughts that you want to give to the viewers?
No, this was a very, very fun night. It was enjoyable talking with you guys, playing Pantheon, being on the podcast.
Of course. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Of course.
thank you for having me.
Sebi, thank you for coming.
We know you guys are busy individuals, so we really do appreciate your time. So thank you guys. We will see you in the next episode of Booning with Friends or on our Mental Boon regular scheduled content. So make sure to subscribe at Mental Boon on all of the socials and at YouTube, and we will see you guys next time.
Ooh.
Boo!